Dear Mr. President Weber, dear colleagues, dear friends, when we adopted the Rome Declaration at the 17th EPP Congress in 2006, the European People's Party, as the leading political force even at that time, spoke optimistically about a future in which a strong and fully united Europe would shape globalization. Today, after almost 20 years, it is clear that this vision has not materialized. While we successfully navigated the dangers of the global financial crisis and the COVID-19 pandemic, significant setbacks have occurred. One of the largest members of the Union left. Over the same period, the US economy grew almost 50% faster than Europe's. We have become dependent on cheap Chinese goods, Russian energy, and American security umbrella. After the annexation of Crimea, we capitulated to Putin a second time. Through open border policies, we have imported millions of security challenges. We allowed the progressive left to take over the vast majority of cultural institutions, medias in many countries, also the judiciary. Instead of pursuing a pragmatic green transition that respects the principles of free market, we have veered into an unrealistic green utopia. And first of all, we have neglected two fundamental issues. First, demography. The trends are catastrophic. Without Europeans, there is no Europe as a cultural and political entity, nor an European Union as defined by the Lisbon Treaty. Second, hard power. The world is as it is, and sadly, not as we wish it to be, and we should act accordingly. Over the past 20 years, the world has changed dramatically, driven by technological advancements, demographic shifts, and the rise, strengthening, and cooperation of autocratic regimes. We are, in effect, at the beginning of a new Cold War with partially new actors, though many refuse to acknowledge this reality. But a clear look at the current global security, political, and economic landscape reveals where we are heading. The center of power in this emerging Cold War has shifted to Asia and the Pacific. Statements by the US President about the Panama Canal and Greenland must be understood in this context. Europe has become a secondary theater. Even the war in Ukraine, where hundreds die weekly, is a secondary battlefield for the great powers. One of them seeks to end the conflict quickly, clearing the table regardless of the cost to Ukraine or Europe, while the other, China and its allies, aims to prolong the conflict. And their reach is extensive, as demonstrated by Hamas' terrorist attack on Israel and the recent tensions between India and Pakistan, both nuclear-armed states on the brink of military conflict. The world is now more dangerous than at any time since the fall of the Berlin Wall. Europe's weakness and marginal role in this situation are partially our own responsibility, which we must honestly acknowledge. The EPP bears an even greater responsibility for the future of our continent and as well of our civilization. Two priorities are critical at this moment. First, as was said many times today, strengthening defense capabilities. So we must urgently and significantly enhance the defense capabilities of member states, reintroduce universal military conscription, and effectively pool research, development, and production capacities of modern weaponry. And second, reinforcing the transatlantic ties. As the first priority will not yield immediate results, will remain dependent on the US defense umbrella in the medium term. Therefore, we must stabilize transatlantic relations and fulfill our NATO obligations. If we fail to act on both fronts, sacrificing part of Ukraine will not suffice. Europe will soon face new territorial demands from a regime that is economically far weaker than us, but possesses greater hard power and is willing to use it to achieve its goals. The next 2 years will determine the future of our continent. So while the EPP is not solely responsible, given the political landscape in member states and EU institutions, our responsibility is the greatest. We face the most challenging and dangerous periods since the EPP's founding, and the priorities are clear. The stakes are extraordinarily high. Therefore, dear Manfred, our newly elected president, I believe, I wish you great luck, immense courage, and much success. Thank you.